We're big spenders, but generally useless when it comes to saving. Under current conditions, debt is escalating, and Remax has predicted that up to 17% of South Africans could lose their homes this year. The National Credit Regulator says total consumer debt now exceeds 800 billion rand. Well, one of the interventions provided for in the National Credit Act is the help of debt counsellors. And for a view from the ground, we're going to chat to someone who deals with over-indebted consumers every day, and that's debt counsellor Randall Adams. Good morning to you, Randall.
Good morning, Francis.
Very quickly, you must see some desperate cases out there. What made you become a debt counsellor?
Well, being in the financial and credit industry this far, I mean, previously being employed with TransUnion ITC, now it's TransUnion. The most important thing is, we found people having these problems and over-indebted and so forth. And here's an opportunity that arose where we could now physically assist and help consumers get out of these problems. So that was the main reason. It's about passion and allowing people to fulfill their daily needs. I mean, that's the important thing.
Was it easy to register with the National Credit Regulator, and how are you regulated actually?
Look, difficulty to register, but fortunately you need the necessary background and so forth, being in the industries. Yes, we are, as the company Ubuntu Debt Rehabilitation, we are registered, and yeah, we're regulated by all the necessary requirements of that with the regulation. Yeah.
All right, let's look at some of your cases. What types of people are coming to you, and what is the series of events that leads them to you?
Sure. Fortunately, we're in a position where we see from all walks of life, from your low-income earners to your high-income earners as well. The truth of the matter is debt has become a problem to everybody at the moment. So we're there to assist them, and the common see is that most of them are frustrated at this point in time. They're depressed, and that's our duty to help them get them back on track by looking after their personal income and balancing their financial obligations as well.
Is there anything viewers can take from this? I mean, are these people just taking out too much debt, using too many credit cards, for instance, shop cards?
Truth of the matter, yes, that is what's happening, but at the end of the day, we can assist them with those situations as well. What they need to bear in mind is, focus and work on a strict budget. You've got to live within your financial means. Make sure before just spending that you can afford what you're actually buying and so forth. So that's the advice I would give to any consumer at this point in time.
All right, somebody approaches you and they have a huge problem. How do you take it from there?
Basically, what we do is we negotiate with a consumer's creditor, all their creditors, not selected ones. In a nutshell, what we do is we lengthen the term, that reducing the installment for that consumer. So that is primarily what we focus on, and that just creates that equilibrium where we can help consumers focus on what the essentials are. So that is how we do it. We negotiate with the creditors, and we find they most cooperative.
Is that the best possible way? Because of course your interest payments then extend
100%,
as well.
100%. But as I say, I mean, at this point in time, they don't see a light at the end of that tunnel. So therefore, it's within their best interest to lengthen that term and frees up a bit of extra cash flow within their homes as well. So that's what the balances are. So at a 12-month to 24-month review, we relook at the situation and see how else we can balance it thereafter.
How much does it cost?
It's a regulated fee of 50 Rand. That's what all debt counsellors should charge. Thereafter, there is a restructuring fee, but that depends on the debt counsellor. But it's not yet regulated, but the stipulated fee is a maximum of 3,000, and that is the initial cost that's been adhered to.
Okay, but if you're terribly poor with a debt problem, you can get by with just paying the 50 Rand. Correct. And you will get some help.
Correct. That is the ownership of the debt counsellor to make that decision.
All right. Yeah. As a loan agent, it must be quite difficult to deal with huge creditors, with banks. Are they listening to you? Are they ready to agree to these more lengthy terms?
Truth of the matter, yes, we find with the larger creditors as such, they've accommodated us by setting up debt review centres. The smaller creditors, although, there's where we're finding the problems because they don't have the infrastructures to actually facilitate the number of forms, the number of documentation and so forth. So, on a nutshell, yes, they're listening because they're prepared to help the consumer, and that, if you don't mind, the best part that the consumers are offering is that they're actually asking consumers speak to them first before going the debt review route. So they're prepared to listen to both debt counselors and consumers.
Have any of the creditors said, look, no, we can't do this?
Yes, you found, obviously, if it's an extensive case, but then we've got the necessary measures in place where we've got a summons, go through to court, and we do a court order and so forth. But generally, we find that they're most accommodating. Yeah.
There is an association for debt counsellors now. Will that help the situation? Will that help you deal with creditors?
Being a debt counsellor, obviously it's in your personal capacity. So when you've got to face these creditors, you find these problems arising. So having an association in board, or on board rather, you would have a group going towards to a creditor and basically asking them questions and doing the necessary. So it makes sense to have that association in place. And it's a voice that will be heard when you reach these measures.
Is that association just forming, or has it been in existence?
Fortunately, it's been recognized by the National Credit Regulator as yet. So with regards to the fee structures, that is where we've come into part as such. We're still working with regards to the rest of the situations. But yes, generally they've been associated already. It is still quite new. Take into consideration the whole process is still quite new. So we find a lot of teething problems as it is, but we're overcoming it. Yeah.
Randall, I asked you earlier what sort of people came to you. I'm trying to establish how big are their debts? You know, do you have huge cases where people face losing their houses, cars, everything?
Correct, and that's the realities that we're faced with. You've got, for example, a cleaner, low-income earner, and they're in those situations. Then you've got business owners, you've got all walks of life, as I said, and yes, repossessions are taking place. You
said you've had a few high-income earners
Correct.
come to you, and how much debt have they managed to get themselves into?
Just to give you a nutshell, we're looking at on one consumer, for example, up to 600,000 to 700,000 at this point in time consolidated.
Wow.
So we've got a lot of work to do on that.
All right. Now, the credit regulator says it wants to raise awareness about debt counselling. There will be road shows, community centres. Will you be involved in that?
Yes, that's going to be happening because, look, if you take into consideration the number of consumers that needs to be marketed to, unfortunately, we cannot leave it up to the regulator themselves to actually get out there and do this. So therefore, it's the ownership of the debt counsellor once again to get in part of this whole situation, get out there, join in on these roadshows and this market awarenesses.
Do you think there's a real need to raise awareness that this service is out there?
Most definitely, because when I actually see consumers physically, they don't know about debt review, they don't know about the national credit regulators. So we need to get out there. The main thing is to advise them that there is a relief solution. There is somebody that can actually assist them with their financial situations.
Randall, finally, given our circumstances, interest rates going up, petrol price going up, possibly not a significant relief for some time. Do you think your operation will expand? Do you think we'll see more and more people using the services of debt counsellors?
Just to add to that, the NCR is actually National Credit Regulator. They've actually gone to rural areas and so forth to actually get debt counsellors on board. They're paying for registrations and so forth. The reason being, there's too many consumers that needs assistance. So yes, from a business point of view, huge growth potential, but you've got to do it within the means. So there's definitely room for expansion because of the number of consumers that are over-indebted.
Is it a rewarding job? If somebody out there is thinking, should I become a debt counsellor? Would you advise them to, or would you say, you know, it's really tough?
It's definitely tough. You've got to be in it for the right reasons, not to make money. Look, that's the remuneration from a business point of view. But you've got to be focused, and it's got to be about passion, because bottom line, you need to restore financial credibility and, most importantly, peace of mind. For that consumer that is over-indebted, he needs to know that there is relief available. So it is a extensive job that needs to be done. All
right. Very interesting. Thank you for your time. That was a view from the ground, and we were chatting there to debt counsellor Randall Adams from Ubuntu Debt Rehabilitation. We take a short ad break. Don't go away.